Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as we indicated earlier, is in Saudi Arabia this morning. He is expected to lead talks between a U.S. delegation and Russian officials tomorrow with the focus on ending the war in Ukraine. Secretary Rubio arrived from Israel, where he met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a joint press conference yesterday. Netanyahu vowed, quote, "The gates of hell will be open if Hamas does not release all of its hostages." Speaking on Face the Nation, Rubio said the U.S. and Israel were working closely to get the rest of those hostages out.
So we coordinate and work very close with them. We share the goal that every hostage needs to come home, every single one, without delay. Obviously, there are details of how we're pursuing that and coordinating that we're not going to share publicly because we don't want to endanger the hostages and we don't want to endanger this process.
All right, for more on the situation in the Middle East, I'm joined by CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay, who's reporting from Tel Aviv this morning. All right, Chris, let's talk about this trip to Saudi Arabia. What are you hearing about that with vis-a-vis Secretary Rubio's trip?
Hey there, Vlad. Well, yeah, he's expected to talk about Donald Trump's stunning plan that he announced last week to resettle the Gaza Strip, moving the 2 million Palestinians who live there right now among the rubble. Where to exactly, we don't exactly know. This trip to Saudi Arabia, as you mentioned, comes hot off the heels of his visit with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. Both of them championed the deal from Donald Trump, calling it bold and courageous. But remember that Marco Rubio has previously said that the idea from Donald Trump was also aimed at pressuring Arab countries to come up with alternatives. So Arab countries perhaps like Saudi Arabia, where he is today, and the next stop on his trip is the United Arab Emirates, two Arab powerhouses who have a lot of sway when it comes to Gaza and the Middle East at large.
Yeah, and Chris, just briefly on that, the President of the United States has doubled down on his plan to displace 2 million Gazans in place of building luxury oceanfront properties. I wonder what that would mean to the fragile peace that has existed between Saudi Arabia and Israel from the Abraham Accords, but even older peace treaties that have been signed, for example, by Egypt, of course, talking about the historic Camp David Accords. How would those countries feel about what the president is suggesting?
Well, who knows, because where exactly are the Palestinians supposed to go? That's very unclear. Egypt is outspoken against it. They have a very fragile balance with, let me say, a group that's adjacent to Hamas, at least as they see it, the Muslim Brotherhood. If they saw Palestinians coming into, let's say, the Sinai Peninsula, just on the other side of the border with Gaza, they could see that. They say they would see that as very disruptive to their own domestic security. It's a very fragile, authoritarian country, and so they're adamantly opposed to upsetting that balance. Jordan is similar. That's another country that's sort of been floated out there as a country that might be in a position to take on some of these Palestinian refugees. But, you know, that's a country that's already hosting millions and millions of refugees from Iraq and from Syria, so it doesn't exactly have the infrastructure to host even more people. And if you talk to people on the ground in Gaza, many will say that they don't want to leave. Of course, many perhaps would love to leave, but they can't right now because of the conditions of the war and because Hamas doesn't want to let them leave. It's extremely complicated and extremely fragile.
Glad that you are here with us this morning to break it all down for us. Chris Livesay in Tel Aviv. Thank you, my friend.